and I didn't get a proper send off of my mother either. So, you know, sending my love to that girl. I know what she's going through. I don't know what it would have been like to have a proper send of my mother, but she was an extraordinary woman, and she deserved a proper send off. And because of this fucking bullshit, we didn't get to send her off properly. We never got to
there was
send her properly.
a very dearly loved woman at my church who passed away in 2020, and she
So sorry, Paul.
did not get a proper
never
send off. It was just awful.
Just like that girl, I'm that girl. That's the thing, Michael. I'm that fucking girl. I didn't get to send my mother off
a
either.
very, very close friend of mine, his 12-year-old daughter got brain cancer in 2020, and she spent the last 2 months of her life dying in complete isolation because we couldn't go more than fucking 5Ks from our house. And, you know, I get angry about this sort of thing, just like you guys. You know?
Angry. I just want to bring this girl up again. You know, I got to tell you, when I'm at a funeral, what I realize that why they're so important. And in fact, if they go back and they find human bones in the past, how they know that there was a society is if the person was buried. If it's buried, then they know, okay, this is a civilization. Because once people form civilizations or tribes, they bury people. And I think we're up against this great mystery of death. We don't know what it is. We have all these theories, but we don't know. But what we do when we bury someone is we celebrate, we define, we get sad, but we celebrate that we're alive and that we're going to miss this person. It's like it's a crime, and we remember the good things about them. It's an act of defiance against our own mortality. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and necessary for healing. Necessary for healing, necessary for this. And this was unacceptable. I mean, I remember that there was a famous case where there was people sitting apart in court in the funeral, and then two of them sat together and one sat, and so three of them sat together, obviously mourning like crazy. And the funeral director comes, get apart, get apart, get apart. And how the hell did we get here? How the hell?
It's my privilege to have been asked to conduct our service today to celebrate the life of Alan Wright. I therefore offer you all a very warm welcome as we unite in love and friendship to...
I shared this on around Father's Day of 2021, and this is one of the ones that APRA is not happy with. I mean, you know, this is one of the things in my list of crimes. New South Wales Queensland border 2021, but people were not allowed to cross that border on Father's Day to see their family. And you know, somebody made this clever, you know, composition, and on the bottom you've got these people in 1961 holding their kids up at the Berlin Wall or whatever, with families were separated, and
yeah, history doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme, doesn't it?
But you know, the medical board's unhappy with that. That's one of my things that I'm not allowed to say because I'm a doctor. I'm not allowed to say that this nonsense that they did to us.
You're not allowed to be a human, Jareth. You're not allowed to be a human with beliefs and values. And this corporation...
And you also have to allow fear to override love. That's the thing here. It's fear overriding love. Oh, shit, you could get COVID. You know, this is the insanity of it. I'll tell you the most famous story we heard is, and I've said this before, but it's new people who've heard it, is Damien and I were interviewing two nurses, doctor, and the night that one of them quit is that there was a man in the hospital dying, and he'd been married for over 50 years, and they wouldn't let the wife in to see him, COVID. And so she was going to have to say goodbye to him on the phone. but the hospital would not let the nurse put the phone to his ear, COVID. And they would not allow him to put it on speaker, because if you put it on speaker, then you might upset the other patients. So the nurse had to listen to the last words from the wife to this husband of 50 years and say it, and then she had to recant it to him, and then he had to say his last words to the nurse and back. I think the last words were, "What's your Bitcoin code?" And he said, "Fuck you, bitch." No, that's kidding. That's a joke. I'm joking. But in actual fact, it was, the woman was still, when she told us on the thing, I saw her. This woman is never going to get over this. But Damien and Damien was better at hiding his emotions than me. We were just like, where are we? How did
there were people?
How did Australia get here? Where's the larrikin
when they
spirit?
shut the borders
Where's
between the
goes,
states?
You fucking kidding, mate? You fucking kidding? Here,
There were people who were not allowed to go and see their dying father and mother because of these frigging state borders being shut.
Yeah.
There was a kid who was about 4 years old who got stuck across the border from his parents. I think it was the Queensland New South Wales border, because of one of these frigging lockdowns, and he couldn't. He was kept away from his parents for several months because of this. This is the sort of bullshit that happened. And
T2Q2 comment here, Paul and Michael, they hate us for being true humans. That's correct. I actually met another man. I don't want to take up too much of this, but I know that met a man. They come up and they go, "Look, I've got a story to tell." He was in Victoria, wanted to get to New South Wales to be with his father. He did an 8-hour trek over the mountains, like the family in The Sound of Music. You know how they go over the mountains to Switzerland? He did that in our country, traipsing over these, not even using tracks, staying off the tracks in case he got seen. So anything could have happened to him, and then he quietly crossed the border, and his father came down and picked him up in a car. This is Australia. I mean, it's just, and that's what you're doing. You're constantly accepting. And then the question is, Dr. Jareth, is if, like, look at Paul here. He's devastated, he totally. But
I'm just saying, I'm the same as that fucking girl. I have the same thing.
If we continue to accept unacceptable things and we just do it one after the other, how dark are we going to go before we finally say enough?
I just had a comment pop up here from a friend of mine, Anita. Hello, Anita.
I'll bring it back.
Anita,
Probably telling me and Paul to shut up.
Anita and Mark, good friends of mine. They got married in 2020 or 2021, I forget which year, during the lockdowns, and they got married outside the Ring of Steel. Remember the Ring of Steel?
Yeah.
Melbourne, you couldn't leave this Ring of Steel, and they got married out in the country, and all these people, I would have wanted to go to their wedding because they're among my closest friends, and I couldn't go to their wedding. They had to do a bloody live stream wedding.
Which is another celebration of humanity.
A
funeral
exactly.
is a celebration of humanity.
One of the most special days of your life, and you've got to live stream it to people who can't be there because...
Let's talk about this really. All they're saying is, even Upper saying to you, listen, forget all your human ceremonies, forget marriage, forget christenings, forget funerals.
I think Dan Andrews made it illegal to get married.
Alive. Just yourself staying alive. Make sure you don't get COVID. Just hide away from humanity and make sure you live. But what's the point of living if you're not?
It's like the nursing home residents. Remember the nursing home residents? We're going to keep you all alive by locking the whole state down, but you're going to live in in solitary confinement. What's the point? If you're 80 years old, what's the point of living in solitary confinement? You can't see family. I'd rather be dead.
You're already dead, aren't you? You're already dead.
You are already dead. That's right.
With your grandchildren and your family and your children and your community.
It's all you've got, and you're not allowed to see.
You're already dead.